What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Nevin the Barber, and I'm back again today with another barber tutorial. In today's video, we're gonna be going over a blowout taper with a slick back on top. So with the first step that I'm gonna be doing in this blowout taper, I'm gonna go ahead and carve in my first bald line. And you guys can see that I kept it right beneath my client's ear just because we do wanna keep this blowout low. And after that, I went with the lever all the way open, followed by the 1.5 guard all the way open. So you guys can see we have our 3 guidelines, starting with our skin line, our half line, and now our 1.5 line. And I'm gonna begin taking out some of the bulk on the parietal ridge, doing some clipper over comb. And this right here is basically blending in the 1.5 guard into the bulk, just so we don't have to go through the bigger guards to take out that guideline. And once we have that done, I went ahead and put on the half guard all the way open just to erase that middle line, blending in the half guard into the 1.5 guard. And you guys can see that with these simple steps, I was able to execute this blowout taper very easily. And now with this last step, I just went ahead and did clipper closed, so it's now cutting the hair down to a 0. And I do have my clippers 0 gapped, so this last step was very easy for me to execute just because I can cut the hair all the way down to the skin. And now that we have our blowout taper done on the left side, I'll go ahead and edge up my client. And whenever I do my edge ups, I always personally like to start off with the C cup. I like to get a nice crispy C cup before I edge up the front of my client's hairline. And you guys can see that I started right at the top and I connected it at the bottom of his sideburn. And I personally like to do it this way just because it keeps it nice and sharp right at the natural hairline. And now that we have our C cup done, I'll go ahead and edge up the front hairline into this blowout taper. You guys can see I'm using my gamma hitters. Again, these are 0 gapped right here. So I was able to easily execute that first initial bald line. And now that we got it down to the skin, we're gonna go ahead and do lever open. So this is cutting the hair down to a 0.5 length right here, right above our skin line. And now we're gonna do the 1.5 guard all the way open. So now we're cutting the hair down to a short number 2 guard. And again, you guys can see the 3 guidelines that we just created, the skin line, the half, and the 1.5 open. And we're gonna follow that doing some clipper over comb with the guard on, just to be safe. If you guys are beginners at doing clipper over comb, I always recommend using the guard. And after that step, I went ahead and erased my middle line with the half guard. Just doing some lever play. You guys will always have to do lever play whenever doing this, depending on your client's growth pattern on their scalp. And now with our last step, we're gonna do lever all the way closed just to come back and knock out our skin line. And same thing, you guys always wanna do lever play, ensuring that you can get the most blurry blend for each section that you guys are doing this in. And after we have our C cup carved in, we'll come back to the front that we did on the sides, just showing you guys how effective this method really is. So I'm gonna carve in my first initial bald line using my gamma hitters, and we're gonna follow that using the gamma shaver just to knock down all that stubble down to the skin. And once we have that done, I'll come back to my clippers with the lever all the way open, carving in my next guideline, which is cutting the hair down to a 0.5 length. And now we're gonna use the half guard to blend the 0.5 into the 1 guard open. So with these 2 steps, you guys can see that I was easily able to clean out the bulk and blend up into the 1.5 guard. And now that I have that section blended out, I went ahead and did some clipper over comb just to get a cleaner transition into the bulk. And now using my 1 guard all the way open, I'm just putting in a few more details, doing some lever play, erasing any last dark areas that I see on the top of my taper. And now I'm gonna go back lining up my client behind his ear. And with this same thing, you guys just want to clean up all those little baby hairs right at their natural hairline. Of course, you want it to look nice and crispy at the same time. There's just no need to dig all the way into their hairline. So just make sure your edges are zero gapped so you guys can get a nice crispy line when doing this. And then you guys can follow it with the razor, using a razor against the grain of those baby hairs, just to really make it pop out. Most barbers don't, take all the extra time to put these details in. So if you guys are doing this, your client will appreciate it, and it'll probably increase your chances of retainment on the cut too. So never be afraid to go back and take those 5 to 10 extra minutes to really detail your fade and make all those imperfections stand out. And you guys can see right here, I went ahead and used the razor against the grain of my client's hairline. And what this is basically doing is just making that line stand out 5 times more than just using the trimmers. And for the top, I'm gonna go ahead and create